Well, a 21-year-old Florida man now has a criminal record because of oversleeping. Deandre Somerville is now on probation after spending 10 days in jail for not appearing for jury duty. In August, he was sworn in as a juror on a civil case in West Palm Beach. He understood he was to return the next day for the continuation of the trial, but he overslept. Mistake number two, he didn't call the jury office to let them know what was going on. Days later, he was served with a subpoena to go before the judge.
After going through that, it's like my life can never be the same again. It hurts, but it's like it's a lesson learned. It could have been worse. It could have gave me 365 days in jail.
He's got a good attitude. Well, the judge's order found, based on Somerville's explanation, there was no good reason to explain why he didn't appear in court.
Okay, so shout out to Antonio Smith for sending me this particular story right here. And it's coming out of Florida, of course. And I have never heard of something like this happening before. Yes, I know that when it comes to jury duty, some people will try their best to do anything they can to get out of jury duty. And trust me, I've heard a lot of stories that people come up with in order to get out of it. But, okay. Granted, one mistake that he did make was by him not telling them the next day that, or whenever he was supposed to tell them, that he overslept. And I knew they weren't going to go for that whole oversleeping thing. But to give the man 10 days, and not only did he get 10 days in jail, he got 150 hours of community service and a 1-year probation behind this. It's people who have done way, way worse and got way, way less. And all he did was oversleep and miss jury duty. So now he has a record because of that. Not because he robbed anybody. Not because he raped anybody. Not because he kidnapped anybody. And better yet, not because he didn't kill anybody. Well, I should say worse, he didn't kill anybody. All because he overslept and missed jury duty. They will find any reason to give a black man a record in this establishment. And like I said, again, it happened in Florida. The only mistake he made was by him not contacting them immediately. By him letting it pass on, they pretty much formed in their mind that he just didn't care. That was his major mistake. But to give him all of that because of something so minuscule as that, are you kidding me? Let's see here. It says, after the familiar nightmare about oversleeping and missing a final exam or a big job interview, waking up usually brings relief. But for 21-year-old Deandre Somerville, the nightmare came after he actually overslept for jury service in a Florida courtroom. A judge later punished him with a 10-day jail sentence. A judge sentenced Somerville to the jail time plus 1 year on probation and 150 hours of community service after he failed to serve on a jury August 21st. Somerville was released Sunday and has a hearing scheduled Friday. Somerville, who works at an after-school programs for the city of West Palm Beach Parks and Recreation Department, received his first ever summons for jury duty over the summer. It was also his first time ever going to the courthouse and sitting in a courtroom. He described it as a little intimidating and a little boring. After a long day of sitting and waiting, Somerville said he was picked to serve as a juror on a civil case and was told to return the following day at 9 a.m. But he missed his alarm and woke up at around 11 or 11:30 a.m. and it was almost time to head to his afternoon job, so he didn't bother going to the courthouse or calling the bailiff. Now, that was the one part right there where, like I said, he messed up when he did not call and tell them immediately. Like I said, that's the only part where I feel he messed up at. The only part. He should have definitely reached out and contacted them. And who knows what would have happened. Hopefully they would not have given him a 10-day sentence. But by him doing that, they formed in their mind that he just didn't care at that point. And he probably thought because it was his first time serving on a jury that they would have just let it slide. Well, I have to tell him, as a person who has had to serve jury duty 2 times and had to be at that courthouse as early as 6 in the morning twice, you better call first off in advance to see if you have to go to court, because sometimes you may not get summoned. And 2, if you're going to be late, you better find a way to get in contact with them and tell them you're going to be late, because they're going to ask why you're late, and then they're going to determine if it's a good enough excuse or not. And if you're not going to show up the next day when you're supposed to, you better have another good excuse as to why you can't come in. Because some people will get a pardon. Because I know, like, after a certain age, I think it's like 65 or something like that, you don't get a summons for jury duty anymore. And I think they're only supposed to send it out like once every 2 years or something like that. And if they mistakenly send it out in the same year of you serving, then you have to send a documentation back saying that you served on a jury before. And if you don't, then you'll have to serve, even if you have already served within that 1 year of you serving, even if you weren't picked. I know I can remember all this because I think I had to go for jury duty. Was it earlier this year or late last year? It was one of the two. I forget when it was. He said, at work, I was looking at my phone thinking, what's the worst case scenario that could happen? See, that's the thing right there. He thought that he could get away with that, and that wasn't the case. And like I said, because it was his first time, he didn't know. But something tells me if he gets summoned again, he probably will. And the thing is, he probably won't, because now he has this thing on his record. But then again, who knows what will happen? He said Somerville lives with his grandparents and helps care for his grandfather, who recently had surgery and has trouble walking. Somerville helps him around the house and takes him to therapy and the grocery store while his grandmother is at work. He was out playing basketball when his worried grandmother called to say there was a police officer at the door with a court summons. My grandfather said, just go in and be honest. I've never had a criminal background, never been arrested, never been in handcuffs. The most I've ever gotten was a traffic ticket, so I was thinking it wouldn't be that bad. Inside the courtroom, he said Judge John, I cannot pronounce his last name, explained that Somerville's negligence delayed the court by 45 minutes. They handcuffed me in the courtroom after that. Said Somerville, who spent the next 10 days in jail. He said his first jail experience wasn't scary, but he prayed daily and wrote in a notebook. When reached by phone Thursday, the judge said he's not allowed to comment on pending court matters. Somerville said his public defender will try to lessen his probation sentence, which he called excessive at the Friday's hearing, which I do believe is excessive. Like, you give this man 1 year probation because he missed jury duty. Like I said, it's people that get way less probation when they commit actual crimes. And I'm willing to bet that the person who's serving not serving, but the person that's probably on trial right now is probably did way more to be there and try to defend or claim their case than this guy who overslept. Now I have a record. I almost feel like a criminal. Now I have to explain this in every interview, said Somerville, who he said he plans to go to school to become a firefighter. And that's the other part I didn't take into consideration too. Now that he has that record, it's going to be hard for him to probably find decent employment. That record will get you every time. And because he wants to go in the fire department, they really going to check that. But yeah, that I understand. See, I can see both sides. One, I can see why he was in trouble because he did not contact them to let them know that he wasn't going to be there or he overslept. But on the flip side, giving him 10 days in jail, 150 hours of community service, and a year probation is too much for something like this. Because they made it seem like he committed a criminal act. It's people who get misdemeanors for criminal acts. Look at Amber Geiger. Charged with and convicted of murder, but she gets a 10-year sentence. And I put that in quotations. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.